Hello everyone, and welcome back to a brand new video. And today, as you can see by the title, we are back for some more PSGL highlights, this time at Japan. You've probably noticed that there was no Italy highlights from round number 7. Yeah, we don't talk about it. But yeah, we're P4 in the standings after that race. It's still close at the front. So yeah, still a potential to get up into the top positions. But yeah, races like Italy definitely won't help our case. So before we get into it then, I just wanted to note that this is my first race on my new load cell pedal. It's a Fanatec pedal that pretty much just measures the force that you put into the pedal rather than the distance. So it's a little bit better, but it definitely takes some getting used to. And I got my pedal, I believe it was the Tuesday, and the race was on the Thursday. So yeah, I didn't have as much time as I would like to prepare, but we still got a decent amount of practice in. So yeah, you may notice mostly in some points of the race where my braking is a little bit inconsistent. But yeah, we'll get used to that, and hopefully we'll see an improvement in consistency more than anything. As we finish our first and hopefully only run in Q1, and we cross the line to do a 25.4, which is quite slow actually, but it should be enough to get through. A good lap in Q1, or a safe lap, would normally be around about a 0.2 to be safe, or 0.3. But yeah, that 0.4 should be fine. And just to make sure, we do go out later on the same set of tyres, because you want to have 2 sets of quali for Q2 and then 2 sets for Q3, which means you have to use 1 set in Q1. So yeah, we're going to go out on the same set, and hopefully we can improve. I think we can improve on that set, and we was going to improve on that set until, well, this happened. So yeah, that was a bit risky, but yeah, we managed to come home in P12. Interestingly, we were not very far off the drop zone, so yeah, maybe a little bit lucky there, but we make it into Q2, that's all that matters. And yeah, on our first run in Q2, obviously because we made it through on just 1 set of tyres, we're going to get 2 runs for Q2, and then 2 runs for Q3, all on fresh sets of tyres. So yeah, again, remembering the importance of getting through on 1 set of tyres if you can. But you don't want to risk it. If you need to use another set in Q1 to make sure you get through, then it's worth doing so. So skipping on to our first run in Q2 then. We were having problems in this last sector. The car was very loose towards the rear, which made it very hard to control through the final chicane. So yeah, that was our main problem. But we come across the line to do 25.1, which is enough for a professional pole for now. But you'll see Danny Moreno. He was rapid. He definitely was the man to beat. And as you can see there, he does a 0.0. Over a tenth quicker than us at the moment. But yeah, it just gets worse as we go on to our final run in Q2 on a fresh set of tyres. Making sure not to completely slide our way through the chicane again. And yeah, we're about just under a tenth up. Or over a tenth now as we come across the line. And we set at 25.0. But as you can see in the top left, Danny Moreno's done a 0.791 in Q2. The next fastest time was a 25.0. So, yeah. You can understand Danny Moreno has some serious pace. So, yeah, going into Q3 then. I'll take you on board with my fastest lap. So, come into turn 1, just after 50-meter board, braking on that curb, down to 4th gear, short shift to 5th on the exit, use all that exit curb, and I come into the left-hander, into these S's, down to 5th for that corner, and into the left-hander. We hold it in 6th, and then into the right-hander, into 5th. Get the power down early, and almost flat through this fast uphill left-hander. Not quite, you don't want to spin the car. Coming into Degner 1, just after the 50-meter board, flat out through there, and then Degner 2, 3rd gear, short shift to 4th, use all that curb on the exit. Now into the hairpin, as the curb ends, brake down into 2nd gear, as tight as you can to that inside curb, and then let the car run out wide, get the power down, short shift to 4th if you have to for the traction. And now hug this inside line for a short distance, into spoon, brake in just after the 50-meter board, 5th gear, use all that outside curb, and then back down. Don't touch that curb on the inside, it will spin you out, and then once again, using all that exit curb to carry as much speed as possible. And now through 130R, of course, flat. hug the left side, and then you want to be braking just before the 50-meter board, down to third gear, cut that curb as much as you can, and yeah, a pretty decent lap for myself. Stay to the right and up to the line. We do 1 minute 24.795, which I was very happy with for my first run. And I was hoping that we would be able to improve, but unfortunately, as I said before, the final chicane was an issue, and yeah, it caused some problems for me once again.
Unlucky.
So it's Danny Moreno then on pole with a 24.6, which is a very good lap. We come home in P3 for qualifying, just behind Alvaro Carton in P2. Very good laps from them. So yeah, I'm very happy with that. First qualifying on the new brake, the new load cell, and not too far off my PB. My personal best was a low 0.7, so yeah, good that I can get close to my PB in the actual session. That's always important that you can do that. But yeah, I think we can all tell that I'm lacking a little bit of speed compared to Danny Moreno at this point. So yeah, it's going to be a tough one in the race, but we'll see what we can do. So jumping straight into it then. For round number 8 of the PSGL season, the Japanese Grand Prix. It's lights out and away we go, and for once in our lives, we have not lost a position off the start. We already took a win in our books, but we maintain position, and yeah, as I say in this, I swear I say this at every single point in every single video after the start. In the train, not in the greatest position, because if we want to go for an overtake, we pretty much can't, because Carton has slipstream on Danny, so yeah, not in the great position if we want to attack for the lead, but yeah, at least we're still in the fight for the lead. So yeah, it's going to be saving our tyres, ERS, and fuel. Well, that's what we hope to do anyway, but you'll see the speed that Danny sets out front. It's quite insane, and you really had to be, as we got wide there straight away, talking about that the braking I was talking about, a little bit inconsistent, a little bit of nerves, but yeah, as I was saying, the speed that or the pace Danny set in out front, it is ridiculous. He was just naturally so quick, and if you made a mistake, you'd find yourself, you know, 7-8 tenths back, and you'd have to use ERS to get back into it, which you ideally don't want to do. So yeah, definitely lacking a little bit of race pace. You might not be able to tell yet, but as we get further into the race, you'll just see Danny has some unbelievable pace, and especially through the corners. I think he was losing a bit of time on the straights, but he was just way too quick through the corners. So yeah, we're definitely going to have to be on our A game if we want to stay in the DRS while conserving our tyres and everything else. So yeah, skipping on to lap number 4, and as you can see, it's around a 6/10, 7/10 gap from me to Caraton, and Danny's a little bit further front. And in a DRS train, as we make another mistake there with the braking. But yeah, as I was saying, you don't really want to be that far back, as you see, it was almost 8 tenths there. So yeah, we definitely are struggling a little bit. If you look at our ERS, I would say ideally we'd want to be, you know, 80% if we're sitting in the train, being carried along. But we have to use some because we just don't have the pace to keep up right now. So yeah, Fab was able to stay a little bit closer to me at most times anyway. Right now it's 7 tenths, but most of the time he was able to stick within, you know, 5 tenths. So yeah, we definitely might be struggling a little bit on pace, but yeah, there's a possibility of an undercut. The pit window is around lap 9 to lap 11. I think that's when most drivers will pit. So yeah, we'll wait till then, and maybe if we undercut and then push on our outlap, we might be able to make something work. So skipping on to lap 9 then, and we have decided that we want to go for the undercut, try and make something work. So we're going to dive into the pits, making sure to get the car slowed down, something we didn't manage to do in recent races. But anyway, coming into the pits then, as you can see, only 2 or 3 cars coming in with me, and we get out. No getting held, which is quite rare for me. But yeah, that's good then, because now we can push.
Let's go.
As you can see, they're pretty happy with that, and now we can push. We have about 70% ERS. And this is very crucial. So as you can see, the Ferrari of Philip Pracineda went for the undercut, and coming into turn 1, we just about managed to stay ahead. And that was crucial, because I'm pretty sure he was 2 positions below us. So I think he was around 5th place. So yeah, very important that we got out ahead of him. And now we can push and see if we can maybe undercut Alvaro and Danny. So skipping on to the end of next lap then, Alvaro, Carton and Danny Moreno came into the pits. We've used quite a bit of our ERS, not all of it because we still need to fight using ERS in our second stint. But as you can see then, they both come out the pits and we're actually going to jump Carton, but unfortunately we're not going to be able to get Danny Moreno. Maybe if we had used a little bit more ERS, we would have jumped him. But he's just going to be in second place with, you know, a full battery, while we're going to be in first with maybe 30-20%. So yeah, now we're just going to sit behind him. I wish I could say that we can just save all our tires and ERS and fuel, but unfortunately I don't think we're going to be able to do that because he is very rapid. So we are going to have to push quite hard to stay with him. And normally with every driver that's like very fast, you do have to push and make sure you're on your A game to keep up. But this race felt different for me. It felt like I really had to be pushing hard. I couldn't really chill, relax, use lean for quite a lot, not use any ERS. I felt like at every point I had to be using a little bit of ERS or fuel, otherwise I was going to drop too far back. So yeah, this one I felt very on edge, like I definitely didn't have the pace in the race. I don't know whether it was confidence because of the new brake pedal or what, or I just didn't have the race pace, but or it was just, I think it was just Danny being an alien. But yeah, coming out of every corner, you know, 6-7 tenths. It's still comfortably within DRS, but you don't want to get too complacent, because if you're 7 tenths behind coming out of a corner, you go, it's fine, I still got DRS, then that could easily become, you know, 8-9, and maybe even a second by the time you go through a sector. So yeah, you want to stay close at all times. Better to be safe than sorry. Because if we drop out of DRS, then that's race over, because Danny's going to pull ahead. And as you can see, Carton is able to stick with us through the corners. As you can see, 4 tenths, 3 tenths. Meanwhile, we got 6-7 tenths to Danny. So you can clearly see now what it looks like when you don't have the pace. Alvaro's able to stick with us, but we're now able to really stick to Danny. So yeah, seems like Alvaro's got a little bit of pace on us as well. But yeah, if we stay within the DRS, I think we should be fine to fight later on. So coming on to lap 15 of the race then, as you can see, Alvaro Carton goes for a move, and at this point, we just let him through. Now, you're probably wondering why would I just give up a position like that, considering I was still in the DRS of Danny. But it was simply because I didn't have the pace, and I didn't want, as I say there, we don't want Danny to drive off into the distance. We hope Alvaro can drag us along and they can battle, and maybe we can get involved as well. But the reality of the situation was, if I was to not let him through, and yeah, it would just be a Danny win and me and Alvaro battling for P2.
I really don't care.
As I say there.
I'm not going to beat Danny. He pulls like 8 tenths through the middle sector.
Yeah, still complaining. But yeah, I hope
Carton can do something.
obviously if this was an esports race or something like that, I think it's very wise to do this, just giving up free track position. But yeah, we didn't just want to sit in P2 the whole race and let Danny streak. And as you can see, Carton, as soon as he gets past, has got 6 tenths to us already, so he definitely has the pace, and hopefully what I was thinking would happen would actually happen, where Carton can battle Danny, and then maybe we can find a way to get involved if they start battling. Because as it was, when I was ahead, there was no chance I was getting close to Danny on the straights. So yeah, I think we were just bored. We just wanted something to happen. I wouldn't recommend this for anyone league racing. You do want to keep your track position, because you never know. We could just end up finishing in a boring old P3. But yeah, we just didn't want to sit the old race. So hopefully now, as I've said before, Caraton can start mounting a challenge on Danny, and we can get involved if we just hang in the DRS, and hopefully they battle ahead and make something happen. So skipping on to lap 21 then, as you can see we have 30% ERS. Now, I would say if I had the pace, properly good race pace, then I'd expect to be sitting, almost a full battery, to be honest. We're sitting in the train. We're not the one having to do all the pushing out front. We have DRS to carry us along, yet we're still draining a lot of our battery. So, yeah, as I've said like 4 times now, definitely not the pace that we wanted. And this is going to be hard now if we want to mount a challenge to Caraton ahead. It's likely that he's going to have a lot more ERS than us. So it might be pretty much impossible to mount a challenge. But we can't get close enough anyway. As you can see, 7 tenths the gap. And sometimes even goes to 8 tenths. And then we have to use more ERS to stay in. And, it's a continuous cycle of just us being slow. But, yeah, I believe at this point, Fabrizio Donoso was close to a penalty. We were as well, but, yeah, people in my chat was saying Fabrizio is more prone to getting penalties. So, yeah, if he gets a penalty, then relieves a bit of stress off our shoulders. But, yeah, it's unlikely that we're going to be moving forward or backwards in this race, unless we get a penalty. But, yeah, unfortunately we didn't have the pace. But, yeah, Caraton is still able to get fairly close to Danny, but it's unlikely that, again, he'll be able to mount a challenge, because Danny is just so quick through the corners. So maybe something to learn from this race is we could have maybe gone higher wings, or anything just to help our cornering, because the straight line speed didn't matter too much, because if you nailed the corners on whatever setup Danny was using, then he could pull 7-8 tenths before the straights, and no amount of straight line speed and ERS will save you from that. So yeah, maybe we should have ran slightly higher wings or something to help us through the corners. And as you see there, Fab gets the penalty now. So yeah, we should be pretty safe in P3. And skipping on to lap 26, as you can see, we drop out of the DRS because yeah, 1 lap older tires and the pace that they had. Yeah, it was pretty hard to stay with them, and our tires were completely gone. We could barely do a corner. Luckily, I think Fab used all his battery as well, so he wouldn't just fly past us on the straights. But as you can see in this final, it's already 1.7, 1.8. And I believe I lost the DRS, what was it, 130R, so yeah, we're dropping off heavily along with the rest of the pack. As you can see, Fab and Nicholas Mateo both have penalties, so we are going to secure the P3 unless we get a penalty ourselves and Fab overtakes us. But yeah, final lap, it would be stupid. It'd be stupid to push and get a penalty on the final lap when you've got a podium secured. So yeah, we're just going to bring it home in P3. Danny Moreno wins. Alvaro P2. They just had too much pace for us today. But we managed to secure P3. Philip Prationator, who I believe is actually the championship leader because of Barry not being able to race, he finishes P4. So yeah, championship's getting interesting at the top. Danny Moreno, unfortunately, not in the championship fight, I think, because he's missed so many races. But yeah, that's his second win in the league. Unfortunately, we still can't win. But hopefully, we'll be patient, keep grinding, and the win will come. But yeah, that's it for today. I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments what I can do better. And yeah, see you in the next one.